Hey, good evening, Flosstube, or wherever it is that you're watching this now. My name is Jess of Springheeled Stitches. Welcome to my channel. Maybe the algorithm brought you here. If so, I hope you are ready for a parade. I decided to do a WIP parade. And I know a lot of people have been doing the mid-year WIP parade because they are very organized and have their lives together. Um, but I actually have never done a full WIP parade. So I decided I wanted to hop along, tag on the end of that parade, that bandwagon, and show you what I have currently as my cross-stitch WIPs. So I dragged them all out, I wrote them down, and I'm going to go through them. And I decided to go, oh, the light decided to change on me, like they're make really bright. I'm using an OT light here, and it used to be my cross stitching lamp until it became temperamental and changed itself. So, but that's actually making it brighter, so we'll keep it. So I got all my stuff out and I decided that I'm going to go from my newest WIP to my oldest WIP. So if you've been here before, I will put timestamps to say what year I started the WIP because you will probably have seen all of the newer WIPs in my most recent videos. And then we'll go all the way down. Also, I wanted to do another floss tube, but I actually did not get a chance to stitch very much or work on my plans. It's summer and it's busy. We had Girl Scout camping and other things happening. I just had like a couple of those weeks where, you just feel like I'm just getting through the week. So I was, doing the things I needed to do for work in the house and, making sure that I was fed and hydrated. Remember to hydrate, everyone. Very important. So I was just kind of getting that, and cross-stitch plans and filming kind of went to the wayside. But decided to do a WIP parade, and I'm going to go through and show you what I'm working on. I will say that I'm not showing every WIP. I decided to keep out anything that I started that just has like a few stitches in it. I don't consider those WIPs. Maybe they're thwips, tiny WIPs. I just thought, less than 100 stitches or just like a block of something doesn't look, to me very, interesting. If you find it interesting, that's great. You can tell me and say, no, I want to see them. But I kept out anything that was just like a brand, like a very, very quick start and then put away. So, and then also we'll get to some of my WIP goes for the month of August, which I am excited to work on. Because the two of them are Sal's and I really would like to finish them up. So without further ado, let's begin the WIP parade, and I'm going to show you WIPs that were started in 2026. So first one up is Tiny Modernist Columbus. Zoom in right there. And I started this during Midsummer Stitch. I had all of these great plans of stuff I wanted to work on in July, and then Midsummer Stitch came and I went, I'm going to work on these instead. So Tiny Modernist has done a couple of the small cities, and I actually looked around their older patterns to see what cities they did, and I was just kind of more curious to see like why Columbus was one of the cities, because it just doesn't seem like, if you think about the major cities in, United States or, North America, it's not really the one I would think of, but it's where I live. I have another little Columbus cross stitch that I've done before, and this one was super cute. I got this one from Just Stitching Inc., which is in Strongsville, Ohio, I believe, but it's also the Cleveland area. So I picked that up during one of my tour of stitches, and it's just super cute. Little block patterns. We've got the river, which I'm going to assume it's the Scioto. There's going to be a bridge here, but there's two rivers in Columbus, the Scioto and what we call the Old and Tangy as a joke, but it's the Old and Tangy. And so I've got the little houses and the cars because I laughed. I said, oh, is it because Columbus has no good light rail or public transportation? We all drive. one of the small pet peeves of my city. But then I looked at the other designs, and a lot of them also feature cars. So I was kind of wondering, like, is it just everyone has like a really fun transportation thing? Like San Francisco has a trolley, and you got the DC subway in New York, but the other designs they have feature cars in them. So I know that Tiny Monitors is from Canada, so maybe since we're closer, a state closer to the Canadian border, maybe that's why we're picked. But I'm enjoying working on this. It's a very quick, simple design. It's got some fun colors with it. And I should hopefully finish it up soon. And I'd like to make this, another part of stuff that I have on my desk. So that is my newest WIP, Tiny Modernist Columbus. All right, fling it off. No, don't fling it. Carefully put it down. I also have the dogs with me, so they might pop in and out. And I'm also coming to you from a different part of my craft room. I actually decided to kick the dogs off the stitching chair and sit here for a while. So, my second one, as I showed you the fabric and the floss for it last time, is 100 Owls by Owl Forest Embroidery. So I had to start that one, and this is about as furthest as I got. So this is going to be the great horned owl in his wreath. I was working on this as well during Midsummer Stitch, and that wreath seemed to take me forever. I'm just sitting there like in the rooms and talking to people and then going to the other events, and then I'm like, I feel like I've been here all day and I still don't have the wreath done. So but that was fun, and of course I was in a couple of the rooms, and folks were seeing what I was doing. I got a nice comment from someone who I couldn't find back in the stitching roll call. But they said, "You looks like you're stitching up a storm over there, Jess. What are you working on?" I said, "Oh, it's 100 owls." So there's all I got. It's gonna be big. I don't know why I thought this was gonna be a quick one. This is gonna take me some time, but I've had my eye on this pattern for a while, and 100 owls is free on Owl Forest Embroidery's website. So if you want to do this pattern, it's free. It costs you nothing but peer pressure. And then I guess if you're like me, you wanted to do the floss conversion and make all the and try to get the fancy floss because I didn't order them in from Russia. I'm going to try to fix my focus here. There we go. Okay, it's trying to autofocus on me. Sorry if that's giving any headaches. So that is WIP number 2. Also, the fabric here is by Black Dahlia Fabrics. It is Green-Legged Ghost. And they sell really fun stuff on Etsy. They will also make you a custom cut if you ask. And this is a 16 count Ada. All right. WIP number 3. I have a little chart over here to keep me on track, my prompter. This is We the Women over here by Heart and Hands Design. And I'm really sorry that she's headless, but I haven't made up my mind of what shade I want to use for their skin color. But this was my stitch along with my folks from StitchCon. So you've probably seen this before as we've been working through it. So I finished the dress. I need to do a little bit more of the white and the eagle as well. He's kind of, well, where am I? There he is. He's over here. Kind of hard to see because of the white. But it's also done for all of the called for colors, which can't really see that well here on camera, but they really do pop up close. So another good reason to keep my stitches nice and neat, because I really would like people to observe this up close to admire the blends of the colors. And all of the colors are from Weeks Dye Work. So that is number 3, We the Women, and we started this in July. It's July 31st as I record this right now. So maybe I'll finish it tonight. Maybe, but I probably want to get this one done first out of all the other ones so that I can be put away. This is also on a 28 count mushroom Lugana. and I got a big fat quarter of this from Lindy Stitches. I use this to sew up my cherry blossom. I have extra. I really like working on this fabric. It's super smooth, so probably will buy more of it in the future. All right. Oops. Piled up on the floor. I got to make sure they're piled back nicely to the floor. There's also a pug at my feet, so I can't really put him at my feet. All right, we got some work done on my next one, which is America's booty, but not his booty yet. Just more of his shield. This is by Triple Crit Stitch. They have a shop on Etsy. And, oops, hang on, let me pull that up to the side. So we've kind of got his little gun harness here, and right here, just imagine sweet, sweet America butt will eventually come. But it's going to be a lot of color fill. So I think what I'm working on right now is to get the black outline done, make sure everything matches up, and then just kind of work on the color fill. So I have this as a project that I can, you know, if it's something I don't need to like concentrate too hard on. So these are DMC colors, and this is a 14 count Aida. I have laying in my stash a really huge bolt of it, and it's very soft. So don't think it's that standard kind of scratchy stuff you get in kits, or like it, basic stuff from Michaels. But it's really soft, and I've just grabbed it for, several pieces as I decide I want to start something new, and I just need, white Aida. So that is number 4, America's Booty. Please forgive the sound of the dog licking himself underneath me. Oop, we're stuck right here. There we go. All right. Stitch number 5, I guess, is a cheat because it's my design. I'm still working on my Lionel Hutz pattern. So I think it's probably the same from the last time that I showed it off in any of my floss tubes. But this is on a 36 count linen, another bolt of white linen fabric that I kind of had laying around. Grabbed it. So I need to finish up the words, and then I need to put in the red for the gag of the words where he writes works on contingency, ? No, comma, money down. So that's the joke. I gotta finish it up because I'd like to give this as a gift to a Simpsons fan who works in my office. But it's another one of those things where if I can pick it up and, it's just black and, one other color. So it's pretty easy to do, but this one's mine, and I don't have a pattern ready for it to be bought or just to probably just distribute. I don't know how many people would be interested in doing that. But if I did finish it up, I would probably just distribute it and for free instead of trying to sell it. So I don't get sued. Like Willie says, shh, quiet. You don't get sued. You don't get sued. That's a Simpsons reference, if you got it. All right. And then we've got, for the last one of 2026, is the Stitch Crypt Under the Full Moon. And I have this on a huge piece of chalk Aida, black Aida, which is one of my favorite colors. So I'm hoping to also chop the bottom half of this off and use it later. This pattern is by the Stitch Crypt. Worked on it a little bit during StitchCon and then put it aside. I have an idea for spooky season stitching where I just want to do owl patterns, because I have this one, I have the 100 owls, I have another really cute like cross stitch cozy owl pattern that I have purchased, and then I also found one by Ink Circles, which is barn owls in a mandala, and so I bought the stuff for that. So I kind of have an idea of doing like an owl Halloween stitch along, and just working on my owl projects. But then I also want to work on other spooky projects too. So, you know, Halloween, fall is my favorite stitching time, and hopefully we get some nice weather outside to stitch outside. But it has been actually kind of nice weather we've been having here in the Midwest. So we'll keep that going. I ran out of a color for his feet, so I probably need to find that color and finish up his feet, because he's driving me nuts here, this owl. He got no feet, which means I can't really connect the branch to him there. But as you can see, fairly small piece here. All right. So that was number 6, and that would be all of the starts in 2026. So we'll move on to the next year. And as I was doing this, because I saw how other people were, matching up all of their stuff, and they had, great record keeping, about when they started it. And then I kind of looked back on my record keeping, not very great, spoiler, and had a rough idea of when I started this in each year, but I kind of realized that I don't have way too many, big category or library of WIPs, because I usually kind of get, like ants in my pants and find one that I really want, and then I just kind of ignore all the WIPs, toss them aside, and work on that one. So I kind of don't have ones that linger too much. Now I do say there is going to be one that we'll see at the end that is a lingerer and will be a lingerer for, the end of days. So let's get into 2025. 2025, I believe I started this one later. Again, these are estimates. 2025, I've got Pumpkin Harvest by Carolyn Manning Designs. And this is on my, I believe it was on my WIP Go chart last year and this year. I went on a shopping spree of Carolyn Manning Designs. I did the Halloween hijinks one of hers before, and I liked it so much, so I really wanted to do this one. And then of course I bought a couple of the ones that the quilt block series. So again, we got to get that border to match up for my sanity, and and then I think we'll be a little bit smooth sailing from there. But I don't know if I'll pick this one up again this year, but I should. I want to say we're about 30% done. This is in DMC colors, and there's only about 9 colors. They make a really nice blend of the oranges and the greens. And this is on a 32 count Jobelin fabric. I forgot the color name. I should probably start a counter of how many times I forgot the color name, because I was trying to be good and toss the tag into my bag when I was working on them, but then I lost them. So working on improving myself, so that next time when I show off stuff, I can remember to tell you exactly where the materials came from, in case you're ever inspired to get your own. But that's Pumpkin Harvest. Oof. For anyone craving some pumpkin spice coming up. I did have a coworker say, like, yeah, I love fall, but they're putting the stuff out too early. And I'm like, you are talking to the wrong person. I'm like, nope, not for me. Though I probably do have the kibosh on, like, sipping a pumpkin spice in July. It's still fruit time for me. Like fruit, pineapples, watermelon, those are the flavors I want. All right, so that was number 7. Number 8. And this is one of my WIP goes for August. And I was excited. I don't know, again, playing the WIP Go game and then going, why am I doing this when I just want to work on this other piece? But I did, but I was also wondering, like, when is this one going to come up? Because I really need to get started on it. So this is the Samhain Queen by the Witch Garden Crafts. And this is a sal that they did. And they have a new one coming out for 2026, which looks amazing. And I want to do it, but I also feel guilty that this one's not done. And I want to say they're more than 50% done. Let's see. Do this the best without me poking out from behind like a crazy person. So I've got, the dress is mostly done. I do have to frog this poor owl, like I think for there'll now be the fourth. No, I don't know. I don't know how. Maybe I will fudge it, but I feel like I had to frog him once, and I might have to frog him again. Or maybe I'll just wait for the end. But how this one was done, the border was released a month beforehand. And then there was a release of a piece every day for the month of October. So you got 31 new motifs or pieces. So start off with the bat, move down to their hair, their dress, and then started to go on to the motifs of that. And they all had historical and cultural explanations of the motifs of the Samhain Queen and the connections to nature and magic and history. So they're going to be doing another sale this year, which is, I believe, historical graveyard theme, which looks amazing. So I want to do that. But I also need to finish this. So we'll see. Check back with me in September to see where I am, because that's when the frame will be released. And you can get these sales directly at her website. She also makes fantastic fabric as well. If you don't know of Witch Garden Crafts, they also are a fantastic fabric dyer. And the sales are really, decently priced. This is not going to, break the bank. It's not going to be like some $60 sale. So again, there's the Samhain Queen, and I am looking forward to working on her in August to see if I can get this wrapped up and cross it off my WIP Go board so I can start another one. The fabric is a 36 count linen, and press that counter again. I forgot what the name is of this, but this is by Mystic Fabrics. And I have a couple of her other ones here. I kind of inherited these fabrics from my mom, who, just like many of us, joined a Fabric of the Month club and then never stitched all 12, pieces. But they're happy to have around, but it's a really fun dye. And I've had this color around for a while, wanting to use it on something, but never found a pattern that wasn't too busy. I think this one works nice with it. I mean, because it is a little bit, busy with the motifs, but it's not too crazy. And there's plenty left over for more things. All right, so number 8. Oh, going on to number 9. It's one that you've seen probably frequently. As it's come up 3 times on my WIP Go board. And I actually had this at work. This was my work project, so it lived in my desk drawer. But it's kind of I switched my work project to the Tiny Modernist Columbus because it just is a little bit more satisfying to do a smaller piece and see how it's going in there. So I'm going to bring this up close to you guys because the colors are very muted. And again, we've got the light so you can see them. But this is the Paris Opera House and is a Russian kit by Pana. I hope I'm saying that correctly. It is with the called for colors that are in Russian. So I'm making sure that I never lose the bag with these in here so that I don't lose the colors. And I'm being very, very, very careful and conservative when I use these threads because I would hate to run out of them. But for the most part, I'm still just working on the sky. Right here where my finger is, that is the end of the piece. So let's see, maybe we're like at 20% on this. And then I gotta tackle the opera house, and then of course the bottom half, which is the street scene. This is on a 16 count easy grid because I bought it and said I don't want a grid. I'm tired and I'm lazy. I finally caved and got some easy grid for this one. So that is a lifesaver here. So that is number 9, Paris Opera. Feel like I'm on a Letterman countdown. If you're old enough to remember David Letterman, or if you're old enough to remember Johnny Carson, it's all good. All right, number 10. This one I have had put away for a while. I guess he's maybe a little bit abandoned, and I'm kind of forgetting the reason why. But he's here, he's got a bag, and he'll get done. So that was my Paris Opera House. This is the Haunted Opera House by Mill Hill, and part of their kind of collection where they had their Spooky Town. Let me see. It's a Button and Beads Autumn series. And I know they had them come out for a while, and this is an older one. I'm checking the date. It's from 2009. And I got this from the Silver Needle online shopping. They have a bunch of the Mill Hill kits, including the discontinued ones, if you are looking for this. So I have the Opera House, and I have the library that I want to do. But I got to finish it up. I think maybe now I'm remembering why I kind of put this one as putting time out. I think for some reason I misread these colors up here in the sky, and then I realized I either have to fudge it or frog it, and I was tired and I didn't want to stitch the sky. I wanted to finish up all of the cross stitch and then get to the beading. Let me show you a picture of what it will look like when done. But that's the thing with these Mill Hill kits, is you kind of really want to get all of your cross stitch in first before you start any of the beads. And sometimes that can be a test of patience, because and counting, because you're just going to be skipping, rows, complete sections. One row is all cross stitches and the next is all beads, and you just got to skip it to make sure that you have really a good place to anchor your beads when you're done with it. I think that's probably the good thing, is when you have a bunch of thick stitches on the back and you're pulling in your beads there, you can anchor them when you're done so they don't feel so flimsy. And it also has, it has a little bit of glow-in-the-dark thread here. But the kit's from 2009, so I don't know how good that thread's still going to be, but I guess I'll have to finish it and see. So that was number 10, Haunted Opera House. 2 opera houses back to back. All right. Further down into the pile. Okay, I was double checking my notes because I thought, wait a minute, am I missing one? All right, this is my second Sal that has come up for my WIP Go, and it's been on the WIP Go for a while, and again, the motivation to get her done. This is a Fantasia Sal by Story Stitches, and this is another free Sal. They do Disney ones and also holiday ones on their website. I gave some money to her Buy Me a Coffee on this because, want to support folks as well. And oops, I got to pull it off because I've got my stand off corner here and it caught my needle minder. Tried to be good and take stuff out of the hoops when I know I'm not working on it for a while, but I do leave the needle minders on. So, I worked on this earlier this year and kind of was buzzing through it. So I really have I need to finish Mickey and his mountain over here, which is a lot of color blocking. And then I need to do the final blocks of the Pastoral Symphony. So we've got Bacchus and Zeus. No. Greek words. Dionysus and Zeus up here, even though I have no clue what Disney actually referred to them as, or Beethoven. Oh no, sorry. it is Disney. Disney does the interpretation that it's supposed to be the, you know, the Greek countryside. Beethoven is just like, it's a pastoral country symphony. It's in the countryside. So I finished up the Pegasus. We have them a little closer. Oh gosh, I'm working on it. I'm practicing at home. The centaurs who are sitting there in the gazebo. So we've got Dionysus, and then Zeus, and then the rainbow goddess Iris. Iris. I double checked that. You can leave a comment that I got that wrong, but the rainbow goddess who flies across the sky after Zeus, you know, crashes the party. And then we've got the Rite of Spring with the hippo and alligator. And the Night on Bald Mountain and the Ave Maria are the last blocks there. So again, this is fun. The thing is, like, even though these are small, they look small, they're about 1,200 stitches each in each block. This is done on another 36 count fabric that, again, click that counter, I forgot the name of, but it's by Mystic Fabrics. So again, Misty does a great job dyeing stuff, so check out their store if you're interested in some great dyed fabrics. And maybe you'll find a purple and go like, the name is this, Jess. Get it together. That is Fantasia Sal by Story Stitches. And I believe, though, that one was started in 2024. I think we finally come into 2024, 23. This is where things are like, I don't remember when, but I should have. So I'm just going by context clues. So the last two, so Fantasia Stitches and the other one were definitely started around 2024, 2023. So everything else they started or worked on in 2024 has been finished. All right. So number 12 is, it's not technically cross stitch, but not embroidery. You know, it's black work. So it's back stitching. It's part of it. Again, leave a comment if you're if you're like, that's not cross stitch, Jess. So this is the Gothic. It's listed as the Gothic temperature chart stitch, but I call it the Notre Dame Windows chart strip. Oh, sorry, I got an itch right there on my nose, of course. And right outside is someone's revving their stupid car. Perfect timing, as always. This is by Ex Libris on Etsy, and then I believe their shop. They believe when I bought this, it was circle cross stitch, but they do absolutely amazing blackwork designs. They have done, you know, books, scenes. They have a really super pretty Advent one that if you're inclined to make it, I think would be a great gift for someone who enjoys, you know, that season of Christmas. But I had to do this one because it's Notre Dame. And then right in the middle, there's Quasimodo holding Esmeralda as she's dead. Oh, my tragic romantic heart. Yeah, this is not the Disney version one. But the backstory on this, and you might have heard it from older videos, but if you're new here, I wanted to do temperature stitches in 2023, and I started 2 of them because I thought I could get 2 of them done for the same year. Foolish. So the other one was the potion bottles, which I finally finished last year for 2023. And I started this one, and I had some design changes. God, where that nose? I did the first window. I ignored the directions. Listen to directions, kids. I did it in 2 strands. It's supposed to be on 1. But I thought I really wanted to show up. It's not going to show up if I do it on 1. because this is a 16 count. I'm like, it's not going to show up if I do it on one. Had to be 2. And as you can clearly see the difference between 1 and 2 strands, the details come out so much better. They get completely lost in 2 strand. So I need to rip out that window and redo it. I also probably need to rip out the colors in that one. I also need to finish the border, which is, once I get the border and the windows done, filling in the temperatures is the easy part. It's the easiest part. I will not finish the temperatures for 2026. Possibly 2027. It is my husband and I's 20th anniversary in 2027. So that could be a fun way to memorialize the year with, tragic romance and dead, unrequited love. Yes, remember this magical year, honey. I'm sure he'll enjoy it. He's always supportive. But this is, my second to oldest WIP that I have working on that. And it needs to go back on a WIP Go board or put into a whip down game of some sort to get the motivation to finish it, because it is very, very pretty and I've put in a lot of hours into it, so I don't want to abandon this. I just need to, have courage, have gumption, finish this up. All right, that was number 12, and then drum roll please, the last piece, lucky unlucky number 13 of a WIP that I classify as a WIP that is not just a couple stitches. And it will be with me until the end of time. This is a pandemic start stitch from the year 2020. It is I Am No Man. And the conversion is from the Sprite Spirit board, if you remember that. It's still active. And this was done with the permission of the original artist. I'm checking the name. Dwayne Joe's art. If you just look up Lord of the Rings stained glass pieces, you'll see them. And they're beautiful. But this is the one from Return of the King. And I am slowly working on it. It does have a lot of confetti, but probably not nearly as much as if, because I've seen people sell this pattern and pattern mill it on Etsy, and you can just tell that it's not going to be good because it's way too small to have the details, or it's every stinking color. I want to say there are maybe 80 to 90 colors in this one. So it's not crazy because, we get down to the bottom and you have Eowyn and Theoden and the horse in green and gold and flesh tones. Then later at the bottom, you also have the Orleifants riders in a maroon and a gray. And then the Army of the Dead and Aragorn. I was in the other corner of this in like light teal and brown. So there's a lot of colors, but there's also a big palette. So it's not like just the same kind of colors. But again, the big challenge is going to be that the Nazgul King is right here in the middle somewhere. He will appear. And I kind of want to get to him and just start stitching him because he'll be easy because he's so big and he only has a couple colors with him. And then we'll have Aiden and Mary, and that's kind of the main block for this. But this is at 12%. It is on 16 count Aida in the biggest piece of fabric I could find and that could be shipped to me in 2020 when we were all staying home. So this one is definitely going to come out during the Fellowship of the Floss, which is happening in August. So I would like to get my WIP Go patterns completed per my game chart And then I like to get this out and see how far I can get to this during that virtual event. It's a perfect thing to stitch when I'm watching Lord of the Rings. Can't go wrong with there. But again, if I finish this piece, it's going in the biggest, most gaudiest frame I can afford, and it will be passed down as a family heirloom. And if you are one of my descendants and you toss it away, a curse upon you. Or at least, sell it for a lot of money if I finish it, okay? So I just beg you for that. I want to finish this. It can be done. I've seen people do it. I think just probably a lot of people who finish these big pieces are monogamous stitchers, have more time to stitch, don't have as many WIPs. So it can be done. It's not impossible. Quite possible. So I will have faith. Have faith, little hobbit. You can finish this. But it will be a long journey. Just like Bilbo and Frodo. It's a long journey. There and back again. But that is my first ever WIP Parade, Midsummer WIP Parade, however you like to go it. So thank you guys if you stayed all the way to the end. If you did stay all the way to the end and you are a floss tuber or you have a favorite floss tuber, leave me a comment and let me know who they are. I'm still going around and letting the random wheel of the algorithm point me to new people, so I enjoy watching a few videos, and I probably subscribe to most people after I watch like 1 or 2 videos just to see, like, I like their stuff and I want to keep seeing more of it. Fortunately not enough hours in the day after work and all the other crap you have to do to watch every video they made. But if you have a favorite floss tuber or you are a floss tuber, feel free to drop that channel in the bottom. I will work on some more stitching, obviously. And then hopefully we'll have another parade at the end of the year. A holiday WIP parade. So thank you guys so much for staying to the end. If you like my channel, feel free to give it all the stuff, a thumbs up, a like, a subscribe, whatever you feel inclined to. Share it with your friends. Remember, folks, to stab fabric, not people. You guys are too pretty to end up in jail. See everyone next time. Bye!